Hello, I'm the Irish guy, and right, so Prem catch up. Let's see what happened in every Premier League game this weekend. Right, let's go.
Tottenham 2, Arsenal 3. Wow, that felt big. Tottenham away, and so being 3-0 up at half-time, and to then nearly chuck it all away, thanks to David Araya briefly swapping his brain for a chocolate muffin and doing a fine impression of David De Gea from last season, passing straight to Romero, and then Declan Rice giving away a stupid penalty. But they won.
Arsenal are incredible. The job that Mikel Arteta has done is absolutely amazing. And I hope they do go on and win the league. Because you haven't won it for 20 years. 20 years for a giant club like Arsenal, that is incredible. Imagine being told back in 2004 when Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira and the boys were planning on winning it every single year. Imagine being told that they'd all have been long retired before the Gunners next win the thing. You'd assume something disastrous had happened. Like North London had just been wiped out by the same rock that killed the dinosaurs. But Arteta to have created this unbelievably brilliant and resilient Arsenal side. Wow, just absolute wow. What Arteta has created at Arsenal is special. Here they are traveling to Tottenham, the spiciest, toughest game of the season. Well, emotionally anyway, and they win. It was amazing. Lads, I'm not even doing the Man City game because I know they're going to destroy Nottingham Forest as we speak. I'm not even going to wait around to do a breakdown of that because it's an easy City win. Lads, I think it's still set up for an Arsenal Premier League title victory. Still, I know I sound crazy, I know, but lads, I just think the last two games of Arsenal's 01-02 season, their second last title win, by the way, they finished that season with 13 league wins in a row, only conceding 5 times. Yeah, their final 2 games of that season were at Old Trafford and then at home to Everton. That's exactly what's on their plate right now. I just think it's destiny. I don't know where Man City will drop the points required for Arsenal to win, but I can just see a rock and roll famous win at Old Trafford for Arsenal. Don't lose hope, Arsenal fans. I still think you'll do it. I think City will lose, ironically, at Tottenham's ground. Arsenal are rolling on. Arsenal have the momentum. I think they're going to do it. Your team is amazing. West Ham 2, Liverpool 2. Lads, everybody has sort of accepted that Liverpool were not winning the Premier League this season. This game is all about the Salah-Klopp feud, which I'm sorry, but Mo Salah has been a magnificent player. One of the greatest stories in Premier League history, the bounce back from Chelsea rejection, where he was gearing up to have the same sort of career as Juan Cuadrado. Imagine being told back when he was an ugly duckling at Stamford Bridge that he would one day score over 200 goals for Liverpool, helping them win the Premier League and conquer Europe. What he's achieved at Liverpool is amazing, and he arguably deserves a statue, but that was pathetic. Salah had been deservedly dropped for this match at West Ham. It's the same sort of performance drop-off we saw from Alexis Sanchez at Manchester United. Just 2 goals and no assists in his previous 7 Premier League games. Of course he should have been benched, but when he was then brought on as a substitute, he starts complaining and then angrily gesturing at Klopp. Darwin Núñez even had to hold him back. I'm sorry, hold him back from what? Klopp is a man who made you before he got his hands on you in 2017. And by the way, you wanted Julian Brandt instead. You were just a 15-goal-a-season winger in Serie A. I don't remember the host of European giants queuing up for him while at Roma. Nah, I mean, he had some interest from Inter Milan, but that's it. And then the team who recently had Frank de Boer in charge. Yuck. Should openly whine and moan at your legendary boss a month before he's supposed to leave the club. Do you think anyone did this to Fergie at Man United? No, Salah should think that his remaining time with Klopp is precious. It's like only having a month left with your very sick granddad. And so you instead storm into his bedroom and pick a petty fight with him over why there's no more Kit Kat chunkies in the biscuit tin. Yeah, I don't think that's going to get you into his will. What Salah did on Saturday reminds me of what Cristiano Ronaldo used to do in his toxic second spell at Man United. Although at least then he was passive-aggressive about his disdain on the bench, just pouting to the cameras. He never actually insulted Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to his face, not in public. What Salah did in front of everyone. Who does he think he is? It's like having a wife who starts beating you with her handbag in the middle of KFC. Can I not finish my chicken wedges first? And then he says this: there's gonna be fire today if I speak. Yeah, you ain't Jose, Mo. Don't try to be. Jose is the guy who made you cry in the Chelsea dressing room. Don't be cryptically talking like, if I speak, I am in trouble. Because that is horrible connotations. This is almost Salah hinting that Klopp has done something terrible. That he's got skeletons in his closet. And that if Salah speaks and lets the world know, oh then
everyone is going to know how truly awful a person Klopp is.
Really? Is this really how you want to speak about someone who has coached you to peak excellence for 7 years? Poor. Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 2. Mauricio Pochettino is the most disrespected manager in the Premier League. Some Chelsea fans who have wanted this man sacked. I can only assume you also spend your afternoons eating mud sandwiches in the park. And you also think the earth is flat. And you think China is just a myth. Pochettino is a brilliant manager. And an absolutely perfect fit for this talented young Chelsea squad. I mean, people squeal about him being a failure at PSG. Because there was that one season where he somehow conspired to not win the league. Yeah. Guess who also oversaw an embarrassing season where he also somehow guided PSG to second? Unai Emery, somebody who Aston Villa fans will gladly let chew their mum's head in a pie, anything he wanted because he's so incredibly special, right? Except he's got the exact same failure on his CV as Pochettino, who, by the way, only contributed to 50% of that failed title race because he only arrived halfway through. Do you know who else had just as many fingerprints over that awful PSG season? Thomas Tuchel, who then went and won Chelsea the Champions League. I think he was still good enough for the Stamford Bridge hot seat, right? I don't want to hear the Pochettino slander anymore by ungrateful Chelsea fans who think they can do better. Better? Really? You think you can get better than Poch? Someone who 5 years ago was the most in-demand manager in the world. Manchester United were being quoted a £50 million compensation package. You are so lucky that Pochettino took the mid-table Chelsea gig last summer, because if not, I guarantee you, he would be working at a European monster like Bayern Munich next season. I mean, do you not think the Bayern hierarchy would probably have rathered someone who's reached the Champions League final with Spurs instead of the miserable old nerd Ralph Rangnick? Someone who at Manchester United looked like even cracking a smile would break every bone in his face. Lads, this was a brilliant Chelsea display in the second half. To come from 2-0 down against high-flying Aston Villa, to rescue a point with 2 brilliant goals, to almost win it at the end. There is life in this Chelsea team, and when Pochettino gets players back from injury this summer, once he makes a few signings, just look at what I think you could do next season. I reckon Chelsea can fetch about £150 million in sales this summer. Sell Axel Disasi, Mark Cucurella, Benoit Badiashile, Raheem Sterling, Mikhailo Mudryk, Romelu Lukaku, Hakim Ziyech, Armando Broja, David Datra Fofana, and Kepa. You will get about £150 million from that chunk of rubbish, right? I mean, the only teams in the world who pay Raheem Sterling the 300 grand he's on now is probably Al Nassr at a push. And then buy Jordan Pickford by chucking £80 million and Robert Sanchez at Everton, then bring in Ivan Toney in a £60 million deal, and snap up Jadon Sancho in a cut price £35 million deal from Man United. I know he is a sulking problem child, but still, this is still someone who could be playing in a Champions League final in his hometown next month against Real Madrid. So, can you imagine a Chelsea starting 11 of Pickford, James, Fofana, Colwill, Maatsen, Enzo, Caicedo, with a front four of Sancho, Nkunku, Palmer, and Tony? Wow. That forward line is silkier than FIFA Street. And don't forget, with Sancho, he is a Chelsea fan. Champions of Europe, we know who we are. And that was only after winning the Europa League. Man United won, Burnley won. Really? After struggling to beat Coventry and Sheffield United inside a week, Eric Ten Hag is now adding Burnley to the list of ugly football minnows who he is now scared of, letting a Manchester City legend like Vincent Kompany leave the theatre of dreams, having once again frustrated the crowd. That was failure from Ten Hag. A Burnley side deep in relegation peril should be getting stomped on like a bug at Old Trafford. Listen, Man United's players are clearly on the beach. Half the squad have switched off and are probably already thinking about their holiday plans to Ibiza or Marbs. Although, to be fair, the likes of Harry Maguire looks like he's so traumatized by European trips away, he's probably going to spend his post-Euro 2024 break camping in his garden, where each member of his family have to poo on the flowers to feel like they're truly in the wild. What this story is about Burnley, lads, they couldn't. They really couldn't, could they? They have lost 1 of the last 8 Premier League games. Only 2 wins chucked in there, but still. That feels weird, right? Every great escape of the past, we have seen the team coming. It hasn't just sneaked up on us on the final day. Lads, if Burnley somehow tumble their way to safety with a bunch of draws, it will be the most lukewarm, unspectacular miracle survival job since West Brom in 2005. Yes, that was officially labelled the Great Escape under Brian Robson. But I mean, their final 7 games featured 4 draws, 2 defeats, and a single win. It wasn't exactly Leicester City suddenly making national press by exploding to win 7 of the final 9 league games in 2015 after Nigel Pearson had called a journalist an ostrich. That was impressively shocking. If that was in a horror film, then that is the triumphant final battle with the monster where you easily slap it up like Mike Tyson. But with West Brom and now Burnley, it would be like surviving a horror film by hiding in the cupboard for an hour. Everyone in the audience has already forgotten who you are by the time the end credits roll. That is Burnley. There's been no dramatic wow moments. It's just slowly hanging in there in every match. They couldn't, could they? Newcastle 5, Sheffield United 1. Well, Sheffield United are down, and you know what? The side of Chris Wilder sadly applauding the away fans at the final whistles at St James's Park. To me, that was fitting. No manager has been more responsible for this Sheffield United squad over the last 10 years than him. The side of him having officially relegated the Blades. It was long overdue. Lads, when Sheffield United came up in 2019, can you imagine if you were told that Wilder would have to wait until 2024 before he was doing a sad, lonely post-relegation interview? You would assume that he was the next Eddie Howe, who miraculously kept Bournemouth in the Premier League for 5 years. Well, that's not the case at all. Wilder dodged relegation in 2021, having left them in the spring, but just delete that wonderful season where they squeaked into the top half based on pure adrenaline alone in 2020. Because Wilder has now lost 39 of his last 52 Premier League games as Sheffield United boss. That is dreadful beyond belief. From the last available 156 points, he has helped his team earn 25. That is awful. This has been systematic failure for years. He needs to finally have that relegation stamped on his CV. Own it, Chris. You can't avoid it forever. Imagine if he had resigned last week. Just so he wouldn't have had to officially experience relegation with the Blades. It'd be like breaking up with your 94-year-old girlfriend as she's having a stroke on the couch, just so you wouldn't have to attend her boring funeral. Sheffield United have been terrible ever since the Magpies started the rot with that 8-0 win in late September. I mean, don't forget, Sheffield United hadn't lost a single of the first 5 league games by more than 1 goal. They'd been 1-0 up in the 97th minute at Tottenham spaceship off a ground. Jayden Bogle had scored an 85th minute equaliser against a treble-winning Man City in August. This was a together unit. But no, anyhow, he broke their spirit that day, ruthlessly eating their hearts with a spoon, as if he just invited Hannibal Lecter to an afternoon picnic, because they've been absolute garbage ever since, and they deserve to finish bottom. No team has ever conceded more than this side over a 38-game season. They've let in 97 so far, and will be the first team to let in 100 goals since Swindon in 1995, back when each team played 46 Premier League games, not 38. That is awful. As for Newcastle though, give them their flowers. This season has been a huge injury crisis, yes, but this team, they score goals. That was the 9th different game this season where Newcastle have scored 4 or more. I mean, some major football teams were on the receiving end of some of those slappings, like Aston Villa, PSG, Chelsea and Spurs. It was only 10 minutes ago that Newcastle under Steve Bruce were such an ugly, boring grey team with no real attacking spark, but now, over the last 2 seasons, Eddie Howe has watched his team score 4 or more on 17 different occasions. That is amazing. This man is producing the modern day entertainers. Right now, I'm going to say this. Alexander Isak is going to win the Golden Boot. Imagine being told 3 years ago that a Newcastle United striker would actually win that thing back when they were persisting with Joe Linton up front. A brilliant box-to-box midfielder, but what? It'd be like Chelsea under Jose Mourinho. Instead of buying Drogba, just making Michael Essien their striker. Would have been about as clever as brushing your teeth with your mum's ear wax. Wolves 2, Luton Town 1. Are Luton Town the most overrated Premier League team of all time? I don't want to be mean, and I don't want to be vomiting all over everyone else's fairy tale. I mean, me pointing out how secretly bad Luton actually are. I feel like I'm telling a 4-year-old that the Easter Bunny isn't real and that Mickey Mouse doesn't actually have a pulse. But the only reason Luton Town are still in with an outside chance of staying up is because Nottingham Forest have had 4 points taken away for the first time in my football watching lifetime. All 3 promoted teams would have been relegated, and with a month to spare, that is worrying. That is signifying that the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is getting larger and larger. And soon it's going to be so big that promotion is now going to be about as pointless as winning Britain's Got Talent. I mean, you'll be famous for a month, but then, by the end of the summer, it'll be back to wiping baby stick off the floor at McDonald's. Can we please stop celebrating Luton Town for having 25 points from 35 games? Rob Edwards has lost 10 of his last 13 league games. This isn't Blackpool from 2011, who were a true miracle underdog, who deserve far better than 19th in the league. It's actually criminal how either Luton or Burnley will finish higher in the league than Blackpool did. When Ian Holloway's boys took 39 points on the board, Blackpool had 19 games that season where they did not lose. 39 points nowadays, that gets you 15th. Everton 1, Brentford 0. No more milk bats. I'm finally safe. I kind of missed them, you know. Fulham 1, Crystal Palace 1. A nothing match, but goal of the season. Anyway, that's Steven. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen in the title race? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, share, and subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.